All right, let's try this again. Once again, my stupid, I don't know what it is. It's not the microphone. I think it's the computer or the web browser or something. Ate my audio. So there you have it. I guess I have to like always restart my computer, always restart my browser, always do the things because there's something unstable here and it's ruining my videos. I hate that. Fortunately, I didn't get too far into it. So starting over is easy. um, Topic today. Global heating. I mean, it's always global heating, right? But now we're seeing global heating play itself out in real time in what we call now the weather. Okay. But it's no longer, it's becoming less about the weather and more about the Earth dynamic system. The Earth is becoming a different place than humans have known it. And it could easily and probably will become a place where humans don't do very well. We need a certain type of habitat. And you can see that working itself out in the places where humans live today, the kinds of things that humans need. And as those needs are no longer met in the Earth dynamic system, okay, not in the weather, in the Earth system, as the Earth system no longer meets our needs, then there will be places where we can no longer live. And I say that this is playing itself out in real time right now because of a few events that we've had in the last several weeks to a month. It's becoming increasingly obvious and harder to avoid. The reality that, again, physics, you can think it's all a hoax, you can think it's all made up, and then there's physics. Things happen, okay? Reality doesn't go away just because you don't think it's fair. Because of physics, certain things are happening in the Earth system. And one of those that I'm going to talk about today is the driver of everything else that also will happen, and that's heat. The heat, global heating, it's in the title. Go back and read the title. It's in the title. Global heating is driving the changes that are going to make the Earth uninhabitable for human purposes. Global heating. Global heating is a manifestation of enhancing the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect traps heat. That's the operant term. The greenhouse effect traps heat, keeps it from radiating out into space. This is all physics. And the greenhouse effect is a natural effect of the Earth dynamic system caused by the atmosphere containing heat trapping gases, such as carbon dioxide, methane, and a few others. Well, the greenhouse effect has been known since the time of Fourier. He calculated it. And then back in the early 1800s, then Svante Arrhenius came along and actually did some real work on what we call atmospheric forcing to try and get at how does the atmosphere behave in the presence of carbon dioxide, methane, or other greenhouse gases. So we've known about this for a long time. And Svante Arrhenius was kind of the first, I think. I'll just go ahead and say that. He was the first who said, look, as long as we're burning carbon-based fuels, we run the risk of enhancing the greenhouse effect and therefore warming the planet. And, it's been called global warming as a consequence of, yes, we did that. And I think these days you have to call it global heating because we're having heat waves. And heat waves are a natural outcome from messing with the greenhouse effect, which we have done and which we continue to do and which we cannot stop doing. I could talk about that, but just accept it as given for now that you can't stop burning fossil fuels. Oh, but electric cars and, nuclear power and solar panels and blah, blah, blah. Well, we are burning record numbers of fossil fuels these days, and we're going to continue to burn record numbers of fossil fuels. Trust me on this. That's the way it's going to be. So what's happening in the world? We've had massive heat waves in India. We've had massive heat waves right now going on in Europe. And right now, or just past earlier in the week, massive heat waves in the US. in a big part of the United States, not just one town or another. Large parts of the United States of America were setting records for massive heat waves. And right now it's being handled as weather. It's the weather. Oh, tomorrow will be hot. That's what the weather guy says. Tomorrow will be hot, and it's hot weather. And tomorrow we'll have rain, and it'll be rainy weather. And they're saying that the heat is the weather. And they talk about the heat domes, and they talk about the heat waves, and they talk about the ridges, and they talk about, whatever. Maybe sometimes once in a while they'll talk about the jet stream. The jet stream is messing with you, and this is blurry, isn't it? Yeah, I can't help it. I should have turned the lights on because I think it focuses better with the lights on. Anyway, put up with it. You're not here for my good looks anyway. So it's being spoken of in terms of weather, and that's how they get you to kind of ignore it. But it's not weather. I mean, that's a framing of the situation, and you could always frame it that way. But what it is it's atmospheric physics. The Earth is changing. No, weather always changes. Not like this, it don't. We're going into a phase of Earth heating that hasn't been seen since the PETM, the Paleocene Eocene thermal maximum, which occurred about 55 million years ago. About 5 million years after the destruction of the dinosaurs, sauropods, the dinosaurs, by a meteorite, the Chicxulub impactor, which was not weather, clearly. I mean, it affected the weather. You could say that if you want to. Oh, the weather got really bad and all the dinosaurs died. Okay, let's recognize that, yes, it was weather. It got this way and it got that way, and the dinosaurs went extinct, but it was caused by a meteorite. Okay, that's what we don't ever talk about. The extinction of the dinosaurs being caused by weather, although probably the weather did change. But it changed for tens of thousands of years, and it caused the extinction of the dinosaurs, and then the weather got different. And then we came along, and now we're driving the weather back into a regime not seen since the Paleocene Eocene thermal maximum, the PETM, which was an extinction event. So, having nothing to do with the asteroid, the dinosaurs were already dead. Then we had the PETM, and we had another extinction event. Piling it on, right? So we're going into an extinction event, and we are changing the Earth dynamic system. The equivalent of the meteorite this time is us and our requirement to burn fossil fuels, because it is a requirement. And if you don't think it's a requirement, then please witness. We are about to murder 99% of the human race because we can't stop burning fossil fuels. And if we did stop burning fossil fuels, 99% of the human race would die because we survive on fossil fuels. You don't believe that. You don't want to hear that. You don't think that's true. You think that's hyperbole. You think I'm being overly dramatic. Nope. It's all true. It's all true. And if you want proof of that, please notice no time in the last 100 years, and least of all in the last 20 years from the Paris Climate Accords, no, 2010, no time in this period did we ever reduce our consumption of fossil fuels. And we're not reducing them now. And we're not going to reduce our consumption of fossil fuels. We will never do that. Not voluntarily. Oh, it can be forced upon us. The dinosaurs thought they were doing great until that meteorite hit, and then they were extinct. That was forced upon them. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't change anything. They've been doing their thing for 80 million years, and then all of a sudden one day they're all dead. But we're doing this. We could stop doing this. We are the meteorite. We are the thing that's going to cause the extinction of most of life on Earth. In the meantime, we are the thing that will destroy the Earth for human purposes. Now, we'll also destroy the Earth for the purposes of octopuses, elephants, zebra, orangutans. And then at the same time, we will be destroying the Earth for the uses of humans, the purposes of humans. That has now begun. That has now started. The so-called weather it will become shortly obvious that this is not weather. Somebody will talk about it as weather, but it won't be weather. It'll be permanent. It will be how the earth operates. The summers will be uninhabitable and the winters will be whatever they are. But the global heating won't go away. It will always get worse. Nothing will change it. Nothing we can do. And people will suddenly realize, maybe they never will. I'm just saying that people could at some point realize, ah, this is beyond weather. This is a different planet. That's right. That's right. It's a different planet. It's a planet more like 55 million years ago during the PETM, which was also caused by enhancements to the greenhouse effect, not by humans, of course, because we weren't around, but it's the same phenomenon. Can there be natural phenomenon that increase the greenhouse effect and cause hothouse Earth and the extinction of species? Absolutely. The PETM. There you go. And there was another one. There was the Great Dying. What was that? Was the KT? The KT boundary was the Great Dying. I think that was another one, just like it. Same reason, in fact. Magmatic extrusions, not volcanic activity, not a cone-shaped volcano and phreatic eruptions and all that. Just an oozing of magma over millions of years, but so much CO2 was released in the process that it heated the planet and caused extinctions twice before. Now we're doing it. If the changes in the greenhouse gases were being caused by magma, oozing out of the Earth's crust for a million years, then, we would have time to deal with it and we wouldn't take the blame. And we wouldn't be able to do anything about it. We would simply say, well, tough luck. Here, now we have to cope. But that's not what's happening. We are doing this and we are not going to stop because we cannot. So the places that have been in the news recently as being really hot, okay, wow, it's really hot weather. We're having and they put terms on it. We have a heat dome and we have a heat ridge and we have a whatever. They'll be naming these things. We have a Todd, we have a Julie. It doesn't matter what you think it is, or you think it's weather and you think it's temporary. It's going to come and it's going to go like a hurricane or a tropical storm. Whatever you think it is, what it is it's changes in the Earth dynamic system. Their system is changing and it's not going to go back. It's more like the PETM. It'll be like this for a million years. And it's going to become increasingly difficult for people, human beings, to survive it. We're not adapted to this. Of course, nothing else that's on the Earth at this point is adapted to it either. I mean, we've gone through a series of glacial maxima, right? We've been in an ice age for 3 to 5 million years. Lots of time for evolution. And so almost nothing present on the Earth today except desert scorpions, right? Lizards, tortoises. Okay, they might do okay. But the rest of us, we're in big trouble. So that's what's going to happen. The heat waves, as if they're weather, are going to come and they're going to sock in and they're going to stay around for weeks and eventually months. And eventually people just won't be able to live there. Oh, but they'll have air conditioning. No, they won't. And even if they did, they won't have electricity. Well, of course they'll have electricity. Not if everybody turns their air conditioning on at the same time every day and plug in their electric car and do all the other things. Their electricity will fail. And every time it fails for a day or 2 or 3. And the time it fails gets longer and longer. Pretty soon the power failures are piling on top of each other and the grid goes down. It takes weeks to bring it back up. And during those weeks, when the grid goes down, it becomes unsynchronized. Because that's how long it takes to bring up the grid. Look it up. Millions of people will die. They'll have air conditioning. They won't have electricity. There'll be no escape. The heat will just come and it will kill you. And the Earth, where this happens, this part of the Earth will become uninhabitable. Now the winters will be different. They'll be warm, probably, and they'll have heat waves, but it'll be survivable because it's winter, and so it's not as big a deal. But if the summertime is uninhabitable or quickly becomes uninhabitable, then people die or have to leave. Are they going to come back just because it's winter? Of course not. They're going to abandon these cities and they're not going to come back. They're just not. Or if they're really wealthy, they can have a house in the city and a house in the Scandinavian north or the Russian north or the Canadian boreal forest. They'll have their second home and they'll fly back and forth in their private jets. But what percentage of the human race is that? Like 1%, half of 1%, a tenth of 1%. So they'll be doing great, but who's working in the fields? Who's building the machines? Who's working in the oil patch to get them the fuel they need for their private jet? Nobody. They're by themselves. So no, they're not going to be going flying back and forth from the city. If they're going to be flying back and forth from Paris, Paris is abandoned. It's empty. Nobody lives there. And that's how the world becomes uninhabitable. It doesn't have to be 10 degrees C above baseline, spring, summer, and fall. It can just be that way for a month. It can just be that way for 2 weeks. And everybody either dies or everybody leaves. And will they ever come back? Maybe the first time, maybe the first 2 times. And after that, they'll just leave and they won't come back. Then the question is where they leave to. Well, maybe the first time you can get you know, as a refugee, as a climate refugee, you can be led into Norway, you can be led into Sweden. They'll let you into the UK, they'll let you into Canada, except if you're an American. I wouldn't let Americans in. Fuck them. So you can escape somewhere and you have a temporary visa and then you're going to go back. And but eventually you're not going to want to go back, or you're not going to be able to go back. Or worse, they just stop receiving you and you don't have a visa, a temporary one. And they're not taking refugees. And you're stuck where you are. Where are you? Greece, Italy, France, Spain, you know, the Netherlands, Switzerland. You're stuck. The lower US 48 states, the East Coast, you're stuck. Nowhere to go. Now, people could come to California, except Southern California will be uninhabitable. We'll have to deal with our own population. There's 20 million people live down there. They're all going to come into the north of the state when they have to flee the heat, when there's no electricity and the air conditioning isn't working and there's no food and there's no fossil fuels to bring in more food because, hell, even the service stations are broken down. There's no electricity. Come on, people. How do you think this shit works? What are you thinking? You think any of this is going to be working in the heat? And when all the people in Southern California decide, oops, time to get out of here, they're all going to try to get out of there at the same time. They're all going to go to all the service stations, drain the tanks, put them in their car tanks, hit the freeway. It'll be a parking lot. They'll be on the freeway for 12, 20 hours at a time, and then they'll run out of gas, idling on the freeway. And then they'll have to push their car off to the side. And they're going to have to walk. And the next day, the sun comes up, and they get baked, and they fall down, and they die. They'll never get out. They'll never get out. They'll just die. They'll die trying. They'll never get out. They'll never get out of Southern California. Because they'll all panic at the same time, and then there'll be no gas, and then the freeways are a parking lot, and there's guns and bullets and muggings and people stealing each other's cars for the gas, and no one gets out. That's it. And 100 years from now, you'll be able to, fly over Southern California in your private ornithopter and, steam-powered ornithopter, whatever we have, and you'll be able to see the freeways full of rusted cars and bones because people couldn't get out. And no one's going to clean that mess up. They're just going to abandon it. And that's it. It's done. One and done. One and done. This is how it starts. Record temperatures in Europe, record temperatures in India, and all the things that come with record heat, torrential rains, crop failures, all the things that happen that are secondary knock-on effects from global heating. So it's already started. And, as the polar jet stream continues to break down and move north and fall apart completely, the subtropical jet stream, yes, there's 2 in the north, will move north to take its place. All that energy will push it north. And pretty soon, these heat events called heat domes or heat waves or ridges, they'll just become permanent, a permanent feature of the Earth dynamic system. And it's not going to be weather anymore. I mean, you can call it that, but we need different words now. It's global heating. It's not weather. It's global heating. It's permanent. Never going away. And if you can't live in these places anymore, like Southern California or the U.S. Southeast, or any part of Pakistan or the south of India or Southeast Asia or the southern part of China or southern half of Europe, If you can't, I'm just talking about the Northern Hemisphere here, okay? If you can, in Central America, in Mexico, if you can't live in these places anymore, then maybe you just stop living. Remember, that is an option. That does solve your problem. Well, I can't live here anymore. Therefore, you die. And some people will have means and they'll be able to get out and they'll fly north in their private jet, or they'll go to their second home in Vancouver, Canada, whatever they're going to end up, Ontario, Sweden, Iceland, wherever they can buy themselves an escape visa. Or in the case of the U.S., you buy Donald Trump's gold card that lets you into the country for $5 million. Yeah, he'll sell you. Donald Trump will personally sell you, because he's president for life. He can guarantee that anytime in the future you need to escape, you can get out and you come to the U.S. because you got your $5 million gold card. Except, of course, the price will go up to $10 million, maybe even $50 million, because that's how that shit works. Once you've got people under the gun, once you've got people where you want them, you can charge them anything you want. Oh yeah, that $5 million gold card, well, that only gets you so far. You can come into the country for 2 weeks with your $5 million gold card. You can escape for 2 weeks. Oh, that's not good enough. Well, lucky you. We have a $20 million gold card that will allow the holder of the card to escape for one entire calendar year. So by end of December, you have to go back. Oh, you don't want to go back all? Oh, well, that's easy. We have a $100 million gold card that allows you to become a permanent resident of the United States of America. Oh, and by the way, that's going to get kind of crowded. So you may want to get another card for Canada. Oh, and if that doesn't work, you may have to get another card for Sweden or Norway or Finland, except the Finns won't even want you. And the Swedes probably don't either. So yeah, you could start figuring out your options and buying this card and buying that kind of visa and becoming a registered climate refugee and asylum seeker and whatever it costs to do all that. You can do all that. And maybe that works. But you're never returning to the place you fled from. You're not. Because this isn't weather. This is global heating. This is changing the Earth dynamic system. It's more like the PETM, which was an extinction event, which changed the Earth for a million or several million years. A million years, even 100,000 years on human timescales, 100,000 years is forever. And we are changing the Earth dynamic system with just our consumption of fossil fuels. We are changing the Earth system for at least 100,000 years. And the more fossil fuels we dig up and set fire to, which we're going to be burning a lot when we're trying to escape the heat, generating electricity, building air conditioners, flying people around, digging people underground. It's going to take a lot of fossil fuels, right? Fossil fuel consumption will go up, not down. It will go up until we're gone. We're just going to burn more. We will never stop burning fossil fuels, and we will always burn more until we are gone. And then we'll stop. That's it. That's how this works at this point. I don't care what you think about the Paris Climate Accords. I don't care what you think about nuclear power and electric cars and solar panels and wind farms. You can think anything you like. Just be ready. Be ready. This is not going to stop. And the changes in the Earth dynamic system are now upon us. So it doesn't even matter if we stop. We could even stop burning fossil fuels today. Zero. Not net zero. Not reducing to zero. Not reaching our budget. Zero. Shut off the coal mines. Shut off the natural gas wells. Don't frack anymore. Close the pipelines and shut down the crude oil extraction and the refineries. You could do that tomorrow. We could, in theory, do that tomorrow. This is machines. Whoever's got the key, get in there, pull down the switch, clunk, turn off the electricity. You're done. We could shut down, with a coordinated effort, we could shut down all the world's fossil fuel extraction efforts in a day, 24 hours. Wouldn't make a bit of difference, except that everyone would die. Because everyone is absolutely dependent on fossil fuels for survival. Yeah, but wind farms, okay, you're going to find out. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to explain it to you. I don't expect you to believe it. You're going to find out, though. If you're smart, are you? You'll be thinking about that. How are you going to survive without fossil fuels? Because they might have to turn it off. The elites might just have to do that. Would they do that? If they had to save themselves, let's be very clear about this. If they really wanted to save themselves from too many changes too quickly in the Earth dynamic system, not the weather, global heating. If they really, really, truly, truly wanted to save themselves from that, they would turn it off tomorrow. And maybe they'd make sure they have their own supply of jet fuel before they do, and that they have their own electric car and solar panels and wind farm before they do. And maybe they want to make sure they had their own second house in Ontario before they do. And they'd buy their $5 million gold card from Donald Trump before they do. And they get all their ducks lined up and they get everything ready. And they've been doing that for years now. So anytime they want to, they just turn it off. That doesn't work for you? Fuck you. They're saving themselves at this point. You can't save yourself? That's your problem. That's an SCP. That's someone else's problem. If you can't figure out how to live without fossil fuels, because you have to get to your job and the food has to come to your grocery store and the electricity and the water and the everything and the first responders and the fire department and all the things you have to have in your life just to survive, and you can't have those without fossil fuels? That's right. So I guess you have to leave, or you have to die, or you have to get rich real quick and provide all those things for yourself. Can you do that? Can you become a billionaire overnight? Can you afford Trump's $5 million gold card to get into the US? Can you do that now? It's on sale now. Could you buy it now? Do you have the money? Do you know where you're going to go? Do you have money to buy a brand new house in some cooler part of the US? Don't buy in the Southeast, for fuck's sake. Don't buy in Florida. They've given up on Florida. Florida is a lost cause. I wouldn't even necessarily buy in the US Northeast. They've been having record heat waves up there. I think we've seen the handwriting on the wall. So maybe you can buy or build a house in the Pacific Northwest, or part of the north or the west part of Canada, maybe even the eastern part of Canada, maybe any part of Canada. But you'd have to buy a house or build a house. And then you'd have to be ready to move in, and you have to be ready to stay there. And do you need a job? Are your investments going to follow you around? Are you going to keep your business going? Are you going to have employees? What happens to your employees? Are they going to die? Are they going to leave? Is your business done? Do you have enough money without your business? Do you have cash? Do you have stocks? Can you sell them? Are you ready? Because if you're not, well, then you're done. If you can't leave, you can't get out, you can't save yourself, then you're done because of global heating. That's it. You're done. Am I done here? I don't know. I kind of think I got lucky. Oh, maybe that's just wishful thinking, whistling past the graveyard. No, 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 no. I see the handwriting on the wall. I got lucky, and I'm not the only one thinking it. Houses around here are selling for 50% over the asking price. Houses in my neighborhood that used to be $400,000, $600,000 now selling for over $2 million because people are coming in with money, cash. They're paying cash for $2 million homes, and they're coming here and they're saying, I got to live here. You people won the lottery. You've got the microclimate, you've got the nearby food supply, you've got nearby water supply, you've got the bay to for cargo ships to come in and out. You guys won the lottery in terms of climate, in terms of the microclimate, and everyone wants to live here. And pretty soon all the houses in my neighborhood are going to be $10 million homes, and they're all going to have wealthy Africans and Brazilians and Venezuelans and Indians and Chinese living in them, because these are the wealthy people who bought the $5 million gold card or the $10 million gold card or whatever the price ends up being. And they come in here and they got a suitcase full of money and they just buy houses right down the street. This one's for me. This one's for my aunt and uncle. This one's for the grandparents. You move everybody in. You just buy up everything, blocks at a time. Buy it all. Move your whole family in. Bring them all in from India. Bring them all in from China. Bring them all in from Zimbabwe. Just bring them all in. There's millionaires in Zimbabwe. There's millionaires in Brazil. They know who they are. They know where they need to be, and they need to get out. And so they will. They'll come here. Where are you going to be? Because it's coming. It's happening. It's happening now. Watch the headlines. And once in a while, they'll say something like, yeah, this could be global climate change. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's global heating. It's a change in the Earth dynamic system. It's not weather. It's not going away. It'll come and it'll go, but it's not going away. It will always be there as a threat. And sometimes you'll have, initially the heat waves will be 1 week long, and then eventually they'll be 2 weeks long, and eventually they'll be 3 weeks long, and pretty soon you have month-long heat waves, and the power fails every other day, and the air conditioning doesn't run, and there's no food deliveries, and people are wild in the streets and setting fire to things and killing each other because they're angry and frightened and frustrated. And where are you going to be in the next 2 or 3 years when all that happens? Because that's what's now going to happen. That is what's going to happen. We are in the jaws of disaster. This cannot be fixed. This cannot be avoided. We can't stop this. Maybe we could have 100 years ago, but now, nah, there's no stopping this. Have I got any advice for you? Sure. Get out. Buy the $5 million gold card if you don't live in the US. Buy it while it's only $5 million. Can't do that? Well, then you better start thinking about living underground, creating a village where everyone in the village lives underground. Can you even do that? Do you even know how to do that? Will your community let you do that? Because living underground is how you escape the heat and potentially the floods and the fires. My goodness, let's not forget the fires. You live underground like a rabbit. You ready for that? No, you're not. You don't have the mindset for it. You don't have any support. Even if you wanted to, you wouldn't know where to start. It's not your fault. Not your fault. In fact, it's the fault of your leadership not providing leadership, not telling you we have to wrap our head around this. They're not dealing with it. They don't want to. They're just not strong enough. They're not smart enough. They're chimps. Your political leaders are not smart people. They're not smart. Not this kind of smart. They're not earth dynamic system smart. They're not physics and mathematics smart. They may be clever and they may know how to, twist a word around to get people to do things, but they're not smart. They're smart like smart chimps. An animal, they can jump through a hoop. They can jump through hoops to get to the shiny thing, to the food, to the whatever the incentive is to jump through the hoop. They can jump through the hoops. They can't deal with the earth dynamic system. They can't deal with climate change or global heating or atmospheric physics or earth system physics or anything else. They can't deal with any of it. Where does that leave you? Twisting in the wind, as we used to say. Start paying attention. Pay attention. This is not what you think it is. This is not what they're telling you it is. This is not what everyone thinks is happening. Everyone thinks something is happening, and it's not that. It is not weather. It's not even climate change. This is the earth dynamic system tearing itself to pieces. The heat is coming. It cannot be stopped. Nothing can stop it now. Maybe 100 years ago we could have, but we didn't. And now, nothing can stop it. It will never go away. It will only get worse. And eventually, most of the Earth's surface will become uninhabitable for human purposes. This is simply what has to happen now. There is no avoiding this. How long will it take? 10 years? I'll still be alive. So will you. You and I are going to live to see this. I don't know if I'll be on YouTube talking about it because, they're not going to want me on here saying these things. They're going to platform people who say, oh, yeah, there's a solution. Oh, yeah, well, we can deal with this. Oh, this is a hoax. They don't want me here. Eventually, I'll be out. I'll be done. One of these days, you'll come here and you say, what's old Cougar up to? And you'll try to find my channel. It won't be here. Just won't be. Whatever. I'm going to keep doing what I do because, I'm trying to be honest. I'm a scientist. I know what's going on. I know what all this means. I know what's happening. I know what's happening to you. And I know that if I were your friend and we were sitting down having and iced tea together, I would tell you, yeah, you need to start thinking about your situation because it's looking grim. And I would tell you that. So I'm telling you that now. While I still have a channel and they'll still let me use the streaming service and I still have my computer and I haven't been thrown in prison for scaring the horses. Here I am. And eventually I'll be gone because they won't allow this. And on that day, I'll be done. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to cry and complain that I've been deplatformed. I've been saying what I have to say, and I've been giving you all the warnings I can give you, and I'm encouraging you to think about your situation, and you need to start thinking very clearly about changes in your Earth system that will make it uninhabitable for most of the places where humans currently are. You need to think about that. You need to plan around that. You need to be watching carefully for when that happens to you where you are. Heat that you cannot escape, or the effects of heat that cannot be averted. So that's it. I got other things to do. I'm still working on my basement, putting in stairs, working really well. I'm building a basement because I'm taking my own advice. It's nice and cool down there, and it's also a place where you can probably escape the fire if it comes barreling through here. I think most cities are going to burn. It's probably as simple as that. Less likely here, but cannot really rule it out. So I'm going to be living underground if that time comes. And I can store food and water down there. And if there's a nuclear war, I can stay down there for a couple of months as necessary until the worst of the radiation finally abates. But my problem isn't really World War III or radiation or even fire. It's heat. And so I've got my plan B. I worked hard on it. It's been very difficult work, very rewarding. Actually, I have really enjoyed it, and it's almost done. So that's also very rewarding and a real relief to me that I have been able to do this before I got too old and could not. So here I am, just ahead of the jaws of disaster. I'm just ahead of it. What a time to be alive. But at least we're still alive. So keep that thought in mind. And while you're here, like and subscribe. Send this video as a link to one of your friends. There's no need for you to be the only one who's disturbed and crying and despondent, right? Spread the joy. And I think eventually more people are going to want to know what to do. And you're just a little bit ahead. Good for you. Good for you. Prepare to be important. When the time comes and people are wondering what to do, prepare to be important. And prepare, therefore, to read my book, which will be coming out soon. I'm almost done on the final edit, just reading through it, spelling corrections, and cleaning up the word flow. And then it will be out there for you to peruse. And I do owe you a reading here. It's just that by the end of the day, when I like to do these things, I've just been so tired. Tonight might be a little different. So, because I rested yesterday, so today may be a little different. Maybe I'll be able to get you episode 5. So prepare to come back and be alarmed. Prepare to be terrified. See you then.